Hi guys, my name is Timo Maas and you're listening to the Liverpool Connection podcast.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Liverpool Connection podcast. I'm your host Daz. This is my music and football one-on-one, where I usually bring on a guest to obviously talk about music, but to talk about football. But I also like to bring on musicians, DJs, producers that I really appreciate. And if they're not into football, that's okay because there's so much to talk about musically and to get to kind of know them a bit more. My next guest is an absolute legend. Produced so many iconic bands, including Souxie and the Banshees, which is one of his favorite bands. U2, Bjork, Tricky, Soul to Soul. The list goes on and on and on and on. But he runs Pussyfoot Records. He did with his mate for a while, Nick Young. Then he stopped and it got relaunched in 2018. So we're going to talk about that. But I'm so thrilled to welcome Howie B to the pod. Cannot wait to get into everything.
Good.
We'll try and do it in an hour.
Okay. Let's go.
So I want to know first about like your musical roots because I've read a couple of interviews where you said your house wasn't very like musical. Your mum and dad weren't, like musicians. And I speak to a lot of DJs, producers, and they always say, yeah, my dad had a piano or my dad had a guitar, but for you, nothing, right?
Nothing. We had a record player. that was the source of music in the house. And it was a great source as well. And also it pushed me to go out and buy music. But no, my grandfather, my dad's father, he was a drummer in sort of like but not really a drummer. It was a drummer in a marching band in the army. So, but yeah, so that was the only connection that there was to any sort of music really in my house. Apart from the love of music, the radio was always on, always listening to music. And so for me, it was music was an escape as a kid. I used to literally just listen to the same record over and over and over and over again and just get lost in it, lost in reading the album cover, just imagining the scenario that the record was recorded and all of that. So that was that's what music was for me. Yeah.
Now, were you a Top of the Pops?
Yeah, I would. I would watch Top of the Pops every Thursday. Yeah, I would. But it would be a family thing. The whole family would watch it. We'd all sit and watch it. Yeah, definitely. That was. Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't thought about that, but yeah, we did that every Thursday. That was something that we would watch. It's
Yeah,
really.
I think as Americans, I think they had a show called American Bandstand with Dick Clark. But with Top of the Pops, it was very family, like,
Yeah, it was brilliant. Yeah, we sat there.
Sandwiches.
Yeah.
I mean, in my house, we went crazy on Thursday nights. We'd have cucumber, cream cheese sandwiches.
Oh, fantastic. Magic. Push that boat out. Magic.
And me and my sister might have a shandy,
All right. Fantastic.
A
shandy. That's magic, a shandy. That's great. No, we weren't doing that at our house. We would have a wee bit. Yeah. No, we weren't. Yeah, there was no alcohol in our house. But there was a lot of sugar drinks. So we would have a lot of like there'd be a lot of like iron brew, stuff like that.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was a family thing, and there was that, and then there was Tomorrow's World, which was also on at the same time. It's just before or after. That was the thing. That was the routine. I fucking loved it.
Well, I mean,
loved
you
it.
just got used to it, didn't you? I mean,
Yeah,
and I think when was the point where, obviously Top of the Pops was mainstream music, but
yeah,
you'd get to see these sometimes obscure bands. I mean, for
yeah,
me, like Killing Joke, I saw them on there and I was like, what is
yeah,
this?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
for
yeah,
me, I was brought up on like synth music and
yeah.
very Depeche Mode, New Order, Joy Division. That's because of my sister.
Mm. For
Uh,
me, it was. For me, yeah. I think it was quite varied, to be quite honest. I think every when you think about it, like we just for me, when thinking about like you got T-Rex, you've got Susie and the Banshees, you've got and then you got for me it's also there was Pan's People. That was fucking brilliant. I loved that. That just that whole thing, and it was so I just loved. I don't know. There was something quite special about it. It was, and you knew they were miming. You knew all of that. It was like watching the wrestling in some obscure way too, but which that was also a family thing too.
yeah.
Uh, but it was magic. I loved it. I loved it. Mungo Jerry, just all this stuff. Phil Lynott, just seeing all this outrageous music,
Mm.
and and they were having a laugh. You knew they were having a laugh. They were having a laugh, and I remember. I mean, not fucking big. I remember I got on Top of the Pops, and it was like that was a massive thing for me. I was like, oh yeah, I've touched down. I've touched down, and they censored it as well because it was an animated film that the guy that I was working with, Run Rake, and there was a bit in the film uh, where the woman was naked, and they cut that out, even though it was a drawing. So that was quite. Anyway, that happened. I was very happy with that. That was like a moment of. I just went, oh yeah, Top of the Pops. I've
Mhm.
got it. I've done it. Yeah, it was a good moment for me.
Yeah, it's funny again when I had Mark Archer from Alternate
Right,
on,
right.
and he kind of said the same thing. He said it was very pantomimey, but still, you that's what you wanted to do as a kid, was get on
Yeah,
the pops.
yeah. Of course you did. Of course you
That's it.
did. Yeah, it was. That was. It was the ultimate. It was the ultimate. The top 40. Fucking great. It's mental. I used to listen to it every Sunday on the radio. It's really mental, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And
That
then
is,
you hope you're not like a one-hit wonder, because but at the end of the day, on your obituary, I
yeah.
made it on Top of the Pops.
I made it. I made it.
Hey,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
give a crap what I did after I made it. So,
And
yeah.
it, and it, and it's great. It's great when also you see your mates on Top of the Pops too. That is very funny because they're taking the piss as well, and they're doing little things like that only
Hmm.
and that's quite funny. That's very funny too.
Did you see the one when Oasis did it? And it was Noel who was singing, and Liam was playing the guitar. Well, not playing the guitar, miming the guitar.
Right? No, I didn't see that one. Oh gosh.
It's one of those where you're watching it and that's not him singing, and they're just
Yeah.
taking this. And
Right.
that's kind of what it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
I listened to an interview with Status Quo as well, and they said,
Ah,
"Yeah,
right, right.
age, we're just drinking. We're taking the piss,
Yeah. Yeah. Status quo. Yeah. Gosh.
rocking
Fucking.
all over the world."
Oh yeah. Magic. Magic.
So were you on to do tapes off the radio as well, like every other teenage
Yeah.
kid?
Yeah. Yeah. I was doing that with a wee Phillips recorder. Yeah. A radio cassette. I had a little radio cassette in my bedroom, and I would do that with Peel like 5 nights a week. Yeah, I was obsessed. I would disappear, and yeah, and I would just do pause record. I'd like, oh wow, I'd catch that. then come off and then listen for a bit, and then sometimes go in before because I was doing tons of that. Yeah,
So
I love that.
Was John Peel a big influence then?
Massive. He was the guy that gave me my driving license. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, totally. It was so eclectic and what's the word? Just inspiring. And it was just great for me, for a wee guy in Glasgow, lying in his bedroom, right, pretending to be asleep, listening to the radio. It's fucking great. And I've got to keep it down because sometimes some fucking mental tunes came on. I'm like, oh fuck. It's like, hold it down, hold it down, hold it down. Yeah, it's good. It's good. And then discovering fucking hash. And then hash and music and John Peel. Fucking hell. That was brilliant. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want on this show. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, that was really good. That was a really good discovery. That for me, it was really and yeah, the connection just between chilling and listening. It was really good. It was
So,
really yeah.
so for me as well, like listening to John Peel, I would be at the record store like a few days later trying to explain to the person behind the counter what I was hearing on John Peel and them looking at me like I'm an absolute like knobhead. Like there's
Yeah,
something wrong with you. I'm going, it goes a bit like this, and then there's some anger. They're like, I have no idea. They're just like, look in those bins.
yeah. I I was happy. I didn't at that point. I was listening to Peel and going to live gigs.
Mm-hmm.
I I was the money that I had that was safe that I had at that time. I was putting into going to live gigs. It was more. It was more. It seemed. I yeah, and also vinyl was fucking expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It was really. It was £4 to go to a gig, and it was like 250 or whatever a quid to buy a record. I'd rather go to a gig
Mm-hmm.
at that time between 13 and about 15, 12 and yeah, around about 12 and 16. I was going to more gigs. It was more what's the word? Yeah, and I would buy a record maybe once a month. It was just too. It was like, but I know what you're talking about. I know. I still have the same thing now. I hear something on the fucking radio, or I hear something at a club, or whatever, and then I try to explain it to either my kids or to someone, and it's like, no,
Yeah, it's
no,
often.
no. Use Shazam. Yeah, yeah,
Oh no, no. Oh, that's the worst. I do not like Shazam because usually, especially if you're at a DJ gig,
yeah,
you see all these people trying to it comes up with something totally different.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you go out and you buy that record, you bring it home, and you're like, that's not what I heard.
yeah,
I have no idea what this is, but
yeah.
no, I mean John Peel, and another legend, just just created this like musical, like everything that he played. Like even if
It
I didn't
just,
like it, I would go back and listen, and then I
yeah.
would understand it.
He was open. He was open. He was graceful. One of the most graceful. He's incredibly graceful, and because he could have chosen one genre and really excelled in that, he could have made that choice, and he did. I think, but he did it in such a wide way. It's like, yeah, I'm into music and I'm open to it all, and send it to me. I'll listen to it, and if I like, and he did listen. I know he listened. And if he loved it, he played it. It's fucking brilliant. It's
Did you ever
it,
meet him?
I met him once, but it was hello and yeah, Fabric. I met him at Fabric. He DJ'd at Fabric, and that was incredible. And also, and also he played some of my stuff as well. There's like five or six, yeah, he played the Skylab stuff. He's played some Howie B stuff, and he played some Daddy Longlegs stuff. So and that was with no pushing or anything. That was like no plugging or nothing. And I love that. I love that. I love that. And I feel what's the word? Very grateful. Grateful for that. Yeah.
Oh, that's got to be a proud moment. Like
Yeah. I'm not proud.
granddad.
I'm not proud. I'm not proud. I'm grateful. It's a different thing. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for your support. It's good. And that's what he did. He did it across the whole board.
Well, I think without him, you wouldn't have heard a lot of these records.
Yeah, and yes, I totally agree. And also the space he gave for him to play your record is like in a way it's just a valid is validating what you're doing. His taste, you can't question it. And it's like, and if he chooses to play it, and he is choosing, of course he's got people feeding him stuff. But the ultimate choice is his. It's fucking great.
I would love an hour in the Peel Sessions building.
Yeah.
Just give me an hour. I mean, an hour's not long enough to be, I've seen the Damon Albarn episode.
Yeah.
Where he goes in and he
I think you need a year more than an hour would be. You'd be crying. You'd be like, okay. Yeah. No,
that's why I could probably only do an hour, because if I did like a year in there, I'd just get lost, and you wouldn't see me again.
Right.
Because it's just, I mean, you can get lost in there, and I can't imagine going in there, and I remember Damon and them saying you can take 3 records. How on earth do you just take 3 records?
It's impossible. Then again, you do, because you just literally just go gunk, 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 and that's it. And if you give me an hour, and then I think the collection is probably outrageous. Yeah. There's another person. There's a guy called Hal Wilner who I put in the same world as wee John Peel, and his taste and his joy and his devotion to music. It was I find them both very similar characters. You should check him out. He's a very interesting producer from started producing in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and sadly passed away a few years ago. But he's coming from the same way. But his role was bringing people together and sharing his knowledge of music, which is outrageous. So I had the pleasure of knowing him, and I find there are some brilliant people in the music world who aren't themselves necessarily musicians, but they fly that flag of this is the way to go. And you need to check this guy out. He's interesting.
Yeah, definitely will.
Yeah.
I want to know. Obviously, I know you started you started DJing first, right?
No.
No. Oh wow! So that came after.
I started engineering, like actually engineering in a recording studio. I started like as a tape op, as a T-boy, a studio called Lily Yard. So I did that for 2-3 years. And then in that time, then I was learning how to engineer analog wise. And this was in the 80s, mid 80s. And then and I moved to London, and then through chance, I met Jazzy B and Nelly Hooper. And when Nelly was part of the Wild Bunch and Jazzy was Soul to Soul, and so I started going to the Soul to Soul gigs at the Africa Centre every Sunday night. And Yeah, and that's so in the dead time I had in the studio, whenever the bands left and the producers left, then I would call up Jazzy, and Jazzy would come down with a few people and we'd make some music or pretend to make some music, you know, dysfunctionally make some beats and sing some songs. And then
As you do.
as you do, yeah. So I started off on a technical thing, and then I started DJing. Like I was DJing with a guy called Daddy Harvey from the Soul to Soul posse. We had a little outfit called Nomad Soul, and that was a thing where we would play sort of reggae and a little bit of hip hop together. And we would do that around various places in London, and SOAS, School of African and Oriental Studies, also at the Africa Centre, and a few other places. So we were doing that, but it wasn't, we were doing that for fun. We were doing that for fun. And I was still working 7 days a week as a T-boy / tape operator. And then some of the things that we did with Soul to Soul in the downtime became Soul to Soul got a record deal. And then I went freelance and started working with Soul to Soul. And that's when I left the apprenticeship, and then went into working with Jazzy, Nelly, Adobe, Gota, all those peeps.
No more T-boy, huh?
No more T-boy, no more T-boy, no more T-boy. The T-boy thing was good though. I have to say, it was a real apprenticeship. It was fucking hardcore. There was no sleep. I was working. I was getting like something like 220 quid a month, £1 overtime, and £1.50 overtime at weekends, and it's like mental. It was mental. Though I was working with crazy people, great producers, great engineers. So it was just a sponge for 3 years, and then it was just all come out.
Now, for you, obviously, you're a massive Souxie and the Banshees fan.
Oh yeah,
as I alluded to in the intro, 1978, I'm hearing is your favorite gig from them.
yeah.
Now, again, you've got to pinch yourself. You're
I
absolutely.
I fucking was pinching myself. I was. So what happened was me and Nelly. They asked Nelly to do Mike. The band asked Nelly to do a remix of one of their songs. Peekaboo it was. We did it. The band rejected it, but Mike Hedges, the producer, said something. Oh, I like the sound of that. I want to go back into the same studio and maybe we'll mix it ourselves. But I want that guy. I want that guy in the studio. That guy was me. So that's how that happens. It was fucking mental. All of a sudden, there was fucking Budgie, there was Steve Severin, there was Susie Sue, and fucking Mike Hedges too. And I'm like, and Mike Hedges is sitting in the back of the room, and I've got the tape there, and the tape's going around, or the tape's in the other room, and I'm at the desk, and he's going, he's not at the desk. He's a fucking brilliant engineer. He's like on point, this guy. But he's getting me to do it because he wants that, what he heard with the Nelly thing. He wanted that whatever it was, that sound. It was great. I did 3 tunes with him. It was brilliant. It was like, and yes, I was pinching myself because like literally 6 years earlier, I was on a bus from Glasgow going to see them at the Manchester Apollo. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I still see, I'm like, with Budgie, it's brilliant. I did like 2 or 3 mixes. He's in this, him and Lowell Thirst and also Jackknife Lee have done a project. about 2 years ago, and I've come in and worked with them on that, done some remixes, and it's just brilliant, and it's really, really good. It's just that is the good relationships you build like that. And I was a kid then. I was a kid. I mean, yeah, it was like, whoa, yeah. And it went on Top of the Pops. That's the other thing. It went on fucking Top of the Pops, and I'm like, oh fuck. Yeah, it was a good.
It's like, can you get better than that? But
No, I mean that was a corker. That was a corker. I swear, even my mum and dad go, "All right then, okay, yeah."
Yeah. You're doing something right, you know.
Well, they were good. They were good. It's not a proper job. It's not a proper job. I kept getting that the whole time. It's not a proper job. And I was like, okay, fine.
Well, you knocked it off the park, because my sister had those 12 inches, and again, you know, I say thank you to my sister for playing them for me, and then I remember I borrowed them and never gave them back, and that's where
right.
I borrowed a lot of records back in the 80s from my sister, and gradually her record collection would get smaller and smaller, and mine would get bigger. Somehow, that's how it works.
That's it. Nice. I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it.
So out of going from Souxie, obviously you've done Bjork again. I'm sure you knew a little bit about her. You did Post, you've done Homogenic. Two fantastic albums.
Yeah.
Now she's a character within herself. Again, from what we see on the media side, she's this eccentric lady with this angelic voice. Now you work with her, day to day. Now, when you have somebody like Bjork, when you go in, do you have like preconceived ideas, or do you go sit in there with her and she kind of says, I want this kind of sound, or do you just like jam first, like just back and forth, like bounce ideas off each other, or how is the approach for you?
It depends what role I've got, because I've worked with Bjork as a co-writer, as a co-producer. I've worked with Bjork as an engineer. I've worked with Bjork as a remixer. So it depends what role. It really does. It's it depends what role it is. As an engineer, which is as a remixer, which is interesting. So whenever I did stipulate every time I wanted to do a remix, she asked me to do a remix. I asked her to re-vocal every remix with me. That was a stipulation, really, because I thought I just wanted to have access to that amazing talent with the new version of the song that I've created. I didn't want to just work. I didn't want to compromise, basically. So I really liked that, because that was very immediate. She knew the song. I would build the song. I would rebuild the song in a Howie B-esque way, and then she'd just come in and sing on it. And so it was very free. For me, it was really free, but it was also, I'm fucking getting the best. I'm fucking taking inspiration from the original. I've done my rub of it, and now she's going to come in and sing on my rub. That was to me, I have to say, was the best part, really. In terms of working with her as an engineer, really cool, really interesting, because of the ideas and her I don't know, just like the lucidity of her explanations, and how she wanted to immerse herself into her music, sonically, atmospherically, and everything. So that I took as a challenge, and that was great. because I love being given. I want it to sound red. It's like, oh, and then I go, how do I translate red into a sound? I want it to sound just things like that. And it's so for me, that's that. I like that. I like that. I like that. I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. But I go red. Okay, this is what red is. And it could be anything. It could be anything. But it's just for me being in the situation of, and it's also if I'm at the desk and she'll say to Marius, the keyboard player, "Hey Marius, I want the keyboard to sound like a tap dancer," and Marius will go, "Okay," and then it's like, so these are the sort of discussions you have. It's great. It's really good. So, and that's why some really interesting sounds happened. And there was really good experimentation. And I would dive in as an engineer. I would go, Marius would look at me and I go, okay, Marius, this is what we do. We go and do this, and Marius goes, great, bang. And we go and do it. And then it's like, then Bjork goes, that doesn't sound like a tap dancer. And then we go, okay, we try this. And then we go like, so yeah. Stuff like that happens, and that's good. That's good.
Well, I mean, I think you've said it before. Like you like to push musicians,
yeah,
to on like uncharted territories. You know,
yeah. I like doing that as a producer, and I like doing that as a collaborator. And I like when I say I like doing it as a collaborator because I like the collaborator to do the same to me. For fuck's sake, it's not a one-way thing. So, like this is like here just now. I'm here with a 25-year-old in LA. I'm fucking 61. It's fucking brilliant, and the energy is mental. It's mental. It's mental, and he's pushing me. I'm pushing him, and yeah, I love doing that as a producer. As a producer, yeah, that it's not about my production. It's about their record. It's their song. It's about that. It's about and them being totally not having any question about it whatsoever. And they're doing something that they would not have imagined themselves doing.
Yeah. Well, it's their story, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that's the whole thing. Like for me, especially like the EDM scene, you know, I don't like that word anyway. It's paint by numbers. You know, it just doesn't have soul for me. I love electronic music, but the EDM, it's like
you don't like EDM.
No,
let's not talk about it then.
Yeah, it just
let's not waste any time on it. Okay, yeah. If you don't like EDM, don't bring me into the conversation for fuck's sake. Okay.
So I love it, and like, you know, just the pushing of boundaries. It's you can tell when you listen to an album or a track, like how well, you know, it's been produced, how well, like you can tell like the musician has been pushed, you know.
Yeah.
Same with the lyrics as well, and that's a big thing for me is how it sounds, how it makes me you know, emotional.
Yeah. It's immediate. That's why we can talk about it with such passion, music, because it really is the one art form, pardon me, it's the one art form that immediately communicates. Mm-hmm. Even if the communication is, listen to me again in 3 weeks, you'll get me then. That could be the communication that the piece of music gives you. Mm-hmm. But yeah, music has that ability to actually touch you immediately. Even noise, like little notes. I made a little note, a little sound for Levi. This song that we mixed yesterday, but I made it like last Saturday. It took me like about an hour to make, and I just wanted to listen to it for the whole day. And it's just a really simple boo, like that. But it's not that. But it's like that. And it was like, fucking hell, that's enough. You know. And Levi's sitting there going, yeah, that is enough. I was just sitting there with me going like that on the keyboard, going, yeah, that's really cool. that's what, and that's just one note. So a collection of them together can really get something moving in you. Yeah.
I mean, I was listening to a Norwegian band and I had no idea what they were saying, but I could tell
Yeah.
with the vocals that it meant something. And if it meant something to them, it'll mean something to me. And just the harmonies just caught me off guard. And, you know, music puts me in a happy place. Music can also put you in a dark place.
Yeah.
Just depends. And, you know, the world needs music, especially in this day and age. You know,
I totally agree. Yeah.
It's, you know, we live in a time where, you know, you turn on the telly and there's just nothing but horrific scenes.
Well, it's atrocious. It's obscene. It's for me just now what's happening. Yeah, okay. You know, before we started the conversation, you know, there's tragedies happening all over the world, but what's going on in the Middle East just now is just it's horrific. It's horrific, and we're all watching it happen. We're all watching this absolute destruction, decimation, and it's not stopping. And we're all, and I'm using the word we because it's still going on. It's this is something for me that affects me deeply. The whole this it's what we're talking about music. This whole our whole conversation just now has been literally about joy, okay, and about what music can bring, and we know the power of music. I know the power of music. I know the power of how it can bring people together. I know how it can separate people too. But then we're watching what's going on in the Middle East, in Gaza, and we're seeing such shite happen, absolute shite, destruction, death, genocide. It's fucking, and I'm really sad with the musical community. With my, I have to say, I'm not sad with the people I'm working with. We're all, but I'm really sad with the people. Yeah, I'm really sad with the distraction, with the non-involvement, with the turn the other eye in my musical community. I find it disgusting, to be quite honest.
I mean,
totally disgusting.
They have a platform, and many people will listen to that platform, and it just seems, you know, nobody's saying anything. And
there's a few bands. There's a few bands that are saying. There's a few bands that have come out. Some surprising bands for me, which is really really beautiful for me in one way. Coldplay came out, dedicated a song, fantastic. Of course, then there's my mates. There's Massive Attack. There's 3D. There's Robert. There's Grant. Daddy G. What they've been doing. There's Primal Scream. What they've been doing, and their voice, and their new album, Wee Bobby. There's David Holmes. There's Chris Sullivan. There's the community is getting bigger. It's getting bigger. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised and ashamed that it's so small. I'm ashamed. I'm actually ashamed. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of my fucking government. I'm ashamed of that, of my government's action. But I know the government. I know how the government's going to act. I did not figure out. I did not for 1 second imagine the fucking turn the other eye, turn the other way from the musical community. I'm really surprised by that. Really surprised because it's shameful.
Howie, I think like quite a number of people, as some people do, if it's not happening in my neck of the woods,
Yeah,
you turn a blind eye. You know, I've been over in America a long time now, you know, and I've seen
yeah,
what's gone on with the violence over here and the school shootings, and it breaks your heart. But it's the same broken record. Nothing ever gets done
yeah,
about it.
yeah. And then okay, okay. And on top of that, music is really powerful. Music is really powerful, and music. We know. I know what music can do. I know the reconciliation that can happen through music. I know that. I've experienced it, and yeah. So I'm still positive. I'm still positive. I have to be positive. Otherwise, I'm not going to get out of fucking bed. So I'm fucking positive. But it's fucking mental. It's really fucking mental. And some festivals now are coming in, which is brilliant. Some venues now are opening up to stuff, and it's good. It's good. It's good. So it's growing. It's growing. It's growing. And it's the youth, really. You know, we're jaded old guys, right? We're OGs, right? But it's like it's the youth. You've got to look at the youth, and I really see a lot of strength and a lot of voice coming from the youth here in America, in Europe, in UK, in France, in Italy, all over, all over. I see that happening, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy. I feel, what's the word? Yeah, I feel touched when I see that. When I've yeah, and I'm seeing it on mainly on like social media things. But when it's good, it's good. So I'm positive. I'm positive.
Yeah, I mean, there's some
I'm sad.
incredible.
I'm sad as fuck, though I'm positive.
Well, yeah, you know, yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah,
tough to watch every day, but you've
yeah,
got to get yourself out of bed, don't you? You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
you're just
yeah,
gonna wither away and be a sad old bastard. You know, again, music gets me going in the morning. If I've
yeah,
had a bad day, I know what songs to play.
yeah,
Um, the youngsters, they're coming out with some good music, you know, and they're
yeah,
telling their stories now. Again, you know,
yeah,
uh, some of it's not for me, but you know, I'm not gonna like bring somebody down because it's not my style. I mean, who am
yeah.
I to say that's
Well,
good,
well,
that's bad?
well, you were doing that with EDM, baby.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Very true, Howie.
Yeah,
You
but
got me on that.
I got you that one. I'm
Yeah,
doing. I'm working on a great project just now. When I say great, I'm saying it myself is great. But I'm
on to
working.
Howie.
Yeah, I'm working on a project just now with a Palestinian singer, a guy called Bashar Murad,
Mhm.
and he's living in Paris just now, and we're making a record, and it's a really beautiful one. So that is how I'm being proactive in introducing joy to this situation, you know, working with Bashar, making beautiful music with him. Yes, the music is very political, but it's political. It's poetry. It's poetry. But when you read into the poetry, yeah, it's about yeah. So it's so that's I'm enjoying that, and we've done 2 songs already, and we're going to finish an album in February. So that's my contribution to joy and reconciliation. That's it. It has to be. I have to be positive. I can't be negative. If I'm negative, yeah, it's just what we were saying. So it's I'm positive.
So are you working like when you work, you like to be in the same studio? Because I know people bounce ideas off the internet, back and forth through
Yeah.
mail or Dropbox. But for you, is it more like person to person? You have to be like in the room with them.
Yes. Yes, it was like that. And then until we went into lockdown, I did 3 albums in lockdown, produced 3 albums and never met any of the artists. Never met them before at all. One of them was live, but actually 2 of the albums were live too. One was recorded in Italy. I never went to the. I met the band after the record came out, and another one was recorded in Iceland, and I met the band after the record came out. But yeah, for me, it's one on one, or not one on one, but being in the room. I had to learn different skills in lockdown. I think we all had to learn different skills. But yeah, that's why I'm here in LA just now with Levi. I'm here working from his home studio, and then we're building here, and then we're taking it into like a commercial studio and putting it down and then mixing it. It's the dynamic of being together in the room, and for me, it's not passive. Music is very active. The creation of it is active too. Microphone placement, anything, just everything. And I love that. I love the tactile thing of it, especially coming into mixing too. And that's been lost. I find when people are now literally like yesterday, we were in the studio with a desk, like an actual blooming desk. And it was the first time Levi's been making music for like what 10 years. It's the first time he's taken his music into a recording studio. He's been doing it at home. It was a magic moment for him and for me too. So there's that dynamic to that's it. You feed off of that. I feed off it. The artist feeds off it. It's like a handshake. Yeah.
So do you get to mostly pick and choose who you're working with these days?
Yeah.
Like, is there a list that gets sent to you and you like?
No. I don't go fishing. I just no. There's no list that gets sent to me. I go through periods of working with a lot of people, and then I go through periods of just I'm on my own making my own music. And the more I make my own music, the more I want to make music with people, and then the more I make music with people, the more I want to make my own music. So I'm jumping like that. And then all of a sudden there's little wee collisions that happen. All of a sudden I'm working with someone who's an animator who doesn't make music, and they animate. And then that's making me make music. And then all of a sudden we're with someone that is a painter. And so I'm totally open. The collaborator doesn't need to be a musician. Yeah.
I absolutely love that, because you can be inspired by a painting. You can be inspired by a book or a movie or a documentary.
Well, the books really are the ones that really got me going. Because whenever I was a kid, I was an obsessive reader. Again, from the age of about 12 to about 16, I would do John Peel and then I'd read. That's it. So, and then that all came out later on in life. All the books that I read, it comes out. It comes out in my. It gave me a little bit more. What's the word? It gave me more tools to express myself. The literature, musically, not verbally, which is really interesting. Yeah, verbally. Verbally. But I find I can express myself much easier, or I can be, what's the word? Much easier. No, I mean, that's terrible. I think I can express myself more fluidly through music.
Mm-hmm. Is that a big reason, again, you know, to start the record label?
Well, that's why I've started this new label. It's now called Dogtooth. I've got a new label now called Dogtooth Records, and it's about really taking music that I love and not like artists that I love and not letting them compromise in any way, not giving, like, just allowing them to do what they want to do with no agenda apart from release their music and give them the best tools to do it. Great artwork, and then me as a label boss, which is crazy. And then and Frankie, who is label manager, the two of us are quite funny. So, and we have a great. And Frankie's making music himself, and yeah, so we run this. I would call it like a family-run label. So it's very, and we do it very dysfunctionally, and that is everybody that comes into the label, they know that. We go, look, things are going to happen really slowly, but when they do happen, it's going to be great. And are you okay with that? And they go, okay, yeah, we're okay with that. That's it. So that's what we're doing with Dogtooth.
And is it a variety of music? Because I think the best labels are the ones you can't pigeonhole.
Yes, there's a variety. The first album that came out on the label was by an artist called Tristan Bress. And it's just beautiful arpeggios. It's gorgeous. Second album that came out was an Italian folk album by a guy called Mickey Angelo Martin. It's all in Italian. And yeah, that came out last year. And then the next thing that comes out is by Ia Alcat, and it's in Icelandic. So there's nothing really English yet that's come out on the English label. So it's three completely different genres of music. So yeah, it cannot be pigeonholed, and that's the point. Is you can't pigeonhole taste. It's not. It's like it's definitely it's my taste. It's like I think this is good. I want to put it out. I think this is good. I want to put it out. And then my distributor goes, Howie, we're a British label, and you want to release an Italian album, and there's no English version, not even any English translation for the lyrics. I go, yeah. They're going, okay. Yeah. It's good. It's good. It's good.
Well, music is life, you know.
Yes, yeah.
It transcends.
We can't just listen to the same song. I mean, like I did do it when I was a kid. I would listen to the same song for weeks on end. But yeah, you can't do the same thing every day. It's not right.
No, and that's what I love about you is just, again, working with the likes of Bjork, U2, Tricky. Now for U2, because again, I had Andy Smith, who was the tour DJ for Portishead, but
Right.
he was also the he would find for Jeff Barrow, he would find all samples for him. So he was like the sampler. Now for U2, when did you get approached by Larry, and
No,
or did you go to them?
no. They were doing an album called Passengers with Brian Eno, and they'd come up. This was like in the '95, and they'd hit a brick wall. And the A&R guy for the project, a guy called Nick Angel, suggested to Bono. Oh no, yeah, suggested to Bono, let go and do some stuff with it. Then Bono goes, oh yeah, is it this guy? And they had a Mowax 12-inch of mine that just come out that they'd heard in a party. Now, this guy, David Quirk, actually, I don't, because it's crazy, I remember that guy's name. So David Quirk I'd had a party at his house, and Bono and the Edge were there, and they put on this song called Have Mercy, which was a tune I did on Mowax. And they were, who the fuck did that? And Dave Quirk goes, that a wee guy called Howie B did that. Then they called Nick Angel. They go, yeah, we want that guy Howie B. And then 2 days later, I was over in Dublin. So they called me. And then I went and I finished off that album, Passengers, and then I carried on working on pop. Started pop with them, and then went on tour with them for pop as well. So it was like about a 3-year job in a way. Well, it's actually more than 3 years. I'm still there. It's still going on. It's still work. It's like we're still exchanging and doing stuff and doing this and doing that. Yeah. But yeah, so Larry, I'd worked with Larry actually earlier because Larry did the 1994 football theme for the Irish football team whenever they went to America for the World Cup. And Dobie and I mixed that. So that was my first edge. So actually, Larry was the first guy who actually brought me into the U2 fold. Did you know that? Or did you not know that?
No, I didn't know that.
All right, okay. I thought because that's a football connection, for fuck's sake.
There you go. Now we're talking some football.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. That's fucking mental. Yeah. So
you did the Mission Impossible, right?
Oh yeah, I did that too. But I did that while we were doing halfway in between. And that was 95, I think, or 96. I did that when I was working on Passengers, or in between Passengers and Pop. Yeah, I did that. Goldie came in on that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Goldie did a wee mix in that.
It's just insane, like the again, like Brian Eno, an incredible.
Oh yeah, Brian Eno, that was another pinch moment as well. Because I had met Brian, and I'm walking into a studio with I remember flying out there. I remember getting the call. I was living in Kilburn at the time. I remember getting the call from Nick Angel, Howie. Brian Eno is working on an album with U2, and they'd like you to come out and have a listen and maybe give them a wee bit of direction. And I'm like going, fuck off. I was like, what the fuck is this? You know, it's like, okay. When do they want me there? As soon as you can go. I can go whenever you want. I can go. I'll go. It was a Brian thing. It wasn't the U2. It was a Brian thing. It's like, fucking hell. Okay. So then I arrive in Dublin. I think it's on a Wednesday or a Tuesday evening. I go to stay in this hotel. Blooms is called. Fucking hell. Blooms. I stay in this hotel called Blooms. And then they come and pick me up in the morning. Adam comes and picks me up in the morning and takes me into the studio. And they're working in the docks. And Adam's driving a wee Volkswagen, and he goes, so Howie, I heard you're a record collector. I go, yeah. He goes, what's your favorite record of ours? And I go, I don't have any of your records. He goes, okay, fine. Okay, fine, right? And he's talking away, and it's good. We get to the studio, and I'm like, God, I'm going to walk in, and it's like, okay, U2, fine. Adam's great. Adam was like the leveler. It brought me right down. And then it was like, fuck, gotta see Brian. And then also, I don't want to overstep him in any way whatsoever. I've been producing for a few years, but so I know what the whole but it's like, wait a minute, the record company are calling me up to come in and help. La 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 la. Am I a threat to Brian or am I an asset? How is Brian seeing me? Right. That's all that was going through my head. And then I go in, I go into the studio, and then Brian's there to meet me. He goes, I'd like you to come into the green room. I've prepared a little cassette for you. So I go into the green room. Brian's there. Band, I haven't met any of the other bands yet. Brian plays the cassette. He goes, I've prepared 1 minute samples of each of the songs we're working on, and I'd like you to tell me what we should do. And I'm like, okay. And there's a cassette recorder there, and it's literally, we press this play, and the thing lasts for 1 minute, and then it goes into another thing, 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 and then another thing, and then it stops, and he looks at me and goes, so what do you think? I'm like, fuck. Yeah, I go, let's go into the studio. He goes, why should we go to the studio? I go, because I can't verbalize. I think it's easier we go into the studio. We go into the studio, I meet the guys. Edge is there, Larry's there, Bono's there, Adam's there as well. And I go, let's play that first thing again. And they play it, and then I go, let's increase the tempo, bring it up a bit. They go, what do you mean bring it up a bit? I go, well, let's speed the tape up a bit. And then Brian goes, that's going to change the pitch. I go, yep, it will change the pitch. But let's let's do that. And then Brian goes, well, why don't we just do it again? I go, great. He goes, what do we need now, Howie? I go, a kick drum. I go, and he goes, how do I do it? What do we do the kick drum? I go, do it on the DX7. And Brian's face just goes, whoa, like that. If you ask him to do FM synthesis, it's like, whoa. He's the king of that. He's the king of that. So he starts going like that, playing around with the DX7, and he gets this 808 kick drum that is like, it's like a fucking, I don't know what you call it. It's like a medicine ball just going boof, like that. I go, great, just play that. And then I go, Adam, play a wee, like a wee bass line. And then, boom, boom, and then we start recording. That was it. It was great. It was great. But he nearly freaked me out. He played me about 15 songs, 1 minute of each thing, maybe even less, and then goes, okay, what do you want to do? It was great. It was good. It was really good. So that was a good learning curve. And since then, it's been great with me and him. It's really good. We finished that album, and then about 4 or 5 weeks after we finished, all of a sudden I was jamming with him in his wee little studio they had in Kilburn, which was just down the road from where I was living as well. And then he moved into another studio over in Notting Hill area. It was great. It was great. It was a magic moment for me with working with him, and friendship and also ability and also lack of ability was fantastic between the two of us. It was great.
Do you ever look back and go, I could have done this a little bit better? Are you a perfectionist?
It's really interesting. I worked with Flood also.
Legends.
Yeah. So Flood suggested to me, Howie, this whole concept of healthy paranoia. And I think if it's got my name on it, if I'm involved in it, there has to be no compromise. Has to be no compromise. I think is if you compromise, well, you can hear it in music. You can hear it in music. I can hear it in music. I can see it in films. I can see it in news. I can see it in politics. I can see it everywhere. Uh, I have a situation. I have the chance not to compromise. So no, I don't compromise. Yeah.
I I love that, as you shouldn't. I was reading the other day about, I forgotten what the name of the movie was, but the director just wouldn't compromise. It's like a 3 hour movie,
Right.
and he wouldn't cut it.
He wouldn't cut it. Okay.
It's like this is what I envision it to be.
Yeah.
And you know, we all see how it's like albums are mixed down to a certain, or
Yeah.
radio mix. It's gone from 6 minutes to 2.5 minutes. Movies, they've gone from 3 hours to an hour and a half because of people's attention span. And I love when people stick to, what they believe in for the
Yeah.
final product. Because
Yeah.
that's what it is. At the end of the day, it is a product. And I believe you stick to what you believe in. And everything that I've heard of yours, is in key in what I love about music, which is
Good. Oh, that's really good. That makes me. I'm happy to hear that. I get life from that. That gives me joy. That's good.
and it's not. I'm not being a bullshitter. Just because
I can hear. I can see that.
I'm,
I can see that. Yeah.
I'm very, very. I talk with my heart. I really do. My missus sometimes says I'm a bit, wet behind the ears. Sometimes I show my emotions
I
too
think
much.
that's good. I think that's good.
The way I am. I was
Yeah.
brought
I think
up
that's
that
good.
way. And, again, we live in, as you said earlier, we're two old farts.
Yeah.
When I was
I
brought up,
didn't say that, but it's very good. I quite like that.
well, anybody that was brought up in like the 60s, 70s, dads were always like, don't cry, you know,
Mm.
crying's,
Yeah, the crying thing is like fuck off. Yeah, I
yeah,
get you.
exactly.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and these days, I just let it out. If
yeah,
a movie moves me, to tears, let
yeah,
it out. Music,
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of music. I wanted to ask you, what have you got new Howie B stuff coming out?
Yeah,
That's
I've got a new album coming out in April. I think it's going to come out in Japan first
Mhm,
because it's a Japanese thing.
mhm,
Well, it's not a Japanese album, but it's yeah. So I mean, I've got a new album, and then my collaborator in that is a guy called Hiraki, and we've been working towards doing like a live music and visual collaboration. And we've been working on it for quite a long time, but tap dancing. And now we seriously got it together last December. Uh, and we made a decision, okay, we're going to make it a fact. So that happens February. I go in to record it. We go to record and mix mid-February, and it comes out March, not March, April in Japan, and then it'll follow on to the rest of the world.
Are you gonna try and do some live stuff with
Yeah,
it?
it's totally live. It's live. It's live, and it's live visuals and live me. Uh, it's put me into a good little zone, uh, early zone as well. In terms of I want to perform live. I want to perform. Well, I've done like four live gigs already with this new model. First one was in Houghton Festival last summer. Then I did one in Wonder Fruit Festival in Thailand, and then I did two live shows in China for Christmas, over Christmas. And it's now a case of okay, making it an actual fact. And it's good. I'm happy with it. I'm really happy with it's an hour show, and it's engaging. Yeah, it's engaging.
Well, I look forward to
Yeah.
listening, and I hope you come to the States and blow our minds. You know,
Yeah,
'cause
well, it's a passive, it's more passive, really. It's like going back to what I was doing in music for babies, that sort of thing, though with with visuals and with the concept is about everything and nothing at the same time. And I want to perform it in cinemas, really. Not cinemas, but that small venues, but it's all to do with the visual and really good sound and very comfortable for people to be in. It's not about movement, it's about engaging. Yeah.
I want to quickly talk about your DJing. Um, Again, you know, we most, especially at the festivals, only get like an hour, and a
Right.
Howie B an hour is it just seems a bit daft, because you
Yeah, it's
can't
very tough.
call
Yeah.
Howie B. You know, I watched the Brighton music conference with Terry.
That was 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on here? You know, it was
Yeah.
great to see all three of you like play, but
Yeah.
you, you know, if somebody was looking outside and they didn't know anything about Howie B, you wouldn't know any, you still wouldn't know anything after,
No, you would. No, you would.
you know. But it was still great to hear you, you know, and you tapping your head, you know, your head was bobbing as per usual. I
Yeah.
love your sets, and you know, again, I I'm so honored that you know you came on here to talk to me, because I've you know been a fan for a very long time, and it is, you know, uh, might be a bit cheesy to say, but it's a tick on the old bucket list for me. Uh,
Oh gosh. Right, great. I'll tell my mum.
I mean, for you, Top of the Pops. For me, getting Howie B
All
on my
right, okay.
pops.
Top of the Pops. You're right. Top of the Pops was a
This is
corker.
my Top of the
All
Pops.
right, okay, good. I get you. I get you.
But you know, again, my friends, you know, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know if people want to check out, because you've still got Pussyfoot dot bandcamp.com, if they want to
Yeah.
check out your stuff on there. You said the new album's coming out in April. You know, when will you be finished in LA?
I'm finished Monday. I leave Monday.
Hmm.
And
And
then I
going
go back then I go back to London and then I start working on recording rehearsing for the recording in February
back.
of the new album. And then after that, then I start working on a film score.
Nice. Look at
Yeah,
you. I love
yeah,
it. I
yeah.
love it. Well, Howie, I really, really appreciate you coming on.
No
And
problem, Daz. It's good. I've enjoyed it. It's been nice. It's been a good little chat. It's
well,
been a good one.
that's what I try and do, is just make it like two mates having a chat about music and you know, life in general, which is, you know, what I love about podcasts,
Yeah,
instead of making it, you know, because there's some podcasts that make it about the host.
yeah.
They barely let the guest speak, because you know
I'm
they're
with you.
views, they want to push it out. But for me, it's like nobody wants to listen to me waffle on for an hour. They,
Oh,
you know,
especially about EDM.
yeah, oh god. Well, that wouldn't take an hour. That would only take
No,
a couple of minutes.
a couple of seconds.
Yeah, not even. But yeah. Thanks everyone for listening. Please like, subscribe, put your notifications on. We'll see you next time. And again, if you don't know about Howie, go check out his music. It's absolutely phenomenal. And I can't say enough about this fella. And I think 2025 is going to be even better. You know, everybody take care of yourself, love one another, and respect one another. And until next time, thank you.
Magic does magic.